Thank you for being with us today on the Rich Life Podcast. We want to thank the big champion right over the table from me, Dave Reynolds.
G'day. Thanks for having me,
Australian legend.
I don't know about that.
No, me neither, but anyway. But
at home, I'm not a legend, trust me.
No, not at home. We're never legends, but in our lunchtime, we're always legends. But, mate, thank you for being on the Rich Life Podcast.
No worries,
I appreciate your time. Now, what's been happening?
Mate, it's all happening.
It's all happening?
Mate, my life doesn't change much at all.
No.
I literally race cars whenever I can, and yeah, that's really it. I've been in the same journey since I was probably 6 years old, I reckon.
Yeah?
Well, actually, yeah. I started racing karts when I was 6, and then I gave up when I was 8. I retired when I was 8 years old.
Really?
In
Wow.
1994.
Big stint
I think
there.
I was 9 or something. Yeah, big stint. And I played tennis for a bit, and then realised tennis is not as cool as racing cars. So then I started racing cars again.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get to that
Oh,
part.
yeah, sorry.
No, just take over the podcast, mate. That's all good. But no, but just in recent, obviously, it's still in your season of racing.
Yep,
And you got next week, you're off again.
We're just over halfway through our season. We've got Tail and Bend next week, which is a track out of Adelaide. It's like an hour out of Adelaide.
Yep.
It's this huge world-class facility. Like it's got a hotel at the track and stuff. Wow. It's out of control, but my record at that track's not very good. No. So yeah, I don't know if I'm looking forward to it or not.
This might be the turnaround.
But as a racing car driver, it's quite a weird thing. It's not like, if I was a fighter or a tennis player or something, if you didn't go well that day, you just look at your own performance and go, oh, maybe I didn't hit the ball well, or maybe I didn't do this well. But racing cars, there's way too many variables. Like 95% of our job is done by the car. 5% is only done by the person behind the wheel. So,
right.
You can literally change the setup overnight and go from last to first. It's that kind of, it's just a mental sport. Doesn't make any sense, and I'm not smart enough to work it out yet.
No, well, hey, when it comes to fighting, I've got no idea either.
Whatever.
I just say throw a punch and a kick and hope for the best.
hope it lands.
Hopefully the best. Well, let's go back into where you, as you say, when you started, this is what I was sort of, growing up, was mum, dad, brother, sister, were they all like into the car racing, or how did you actually get into it?
How did I get into it? Yeah, so my dad, he's a dentist.
Oh, there you go. Something similar to the V8 driving.
Completely unrelated to motor racing.
Really? Wow.
But he loved motor racing.
Did he? Okay.
He used to have a rally car back in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s.
Yep.
And I remember as a young kid going out in the forest and watch my old man race his rally car.
Yep.
And then my brother James, he's 3 years older than me. He got a go-kart when he was about 7 or 8 or something.
Yep.
And then about a year later, I had one too.
Wow.
And then we went racing as a family, and then my mum had one, my dad had one.
Oh, true.
And actually at one point in my life, all of us race karts on the weekend, which is bloody weird. My mum only did it like once or twice. But it was fucking cool, isn't it?
Oh, that is good. That is good.
Like, for me, that feels normal, but it's not.
Yeah, well,
it's not really normal at all.
I suppose that's exactly right. When you sort of get that part, we thought when I was growing up, it was in the hotels and you're seeing nothing but violence in the hotels. You thought, this must be normality, like everyone just must glass each other or punch each other. It's the same, I suppose, when the whole family's got go-karts and everyone's like,
it's weird.
That's not pretty much normal, but.
Yeah, it's bloody weird, but it was cool.
So, that would have been a good sort of growing up period then.
Yes and no.
Competitive.
Yeah, you're competitive, so you do have a lot of falling outs with your family because, Dad might not have done the spark plug up properly and fouled a plug.
On purpose?
Yeah, not on purpose, no, but, shit like that goes wrong. And just as a competitive, quite egotistical kid, you want to win all the races, and it turns out you don't win all the races.
And was that you, like with obviously the family that was like so competitive once you got that go-kart, there's like, I need to win all the time?
Yeah, basically, yeah. I remember my very first year I did racing, I was racing against my brother.
Yeah.
And he's a couple of years older than me. He's been doing it for a bit longer than I did at the time. And our rivalry was fucking hard.
Yeah?
It was we didn't really get along at that point, but it was interesting. I think I ended up winning, but
That's
I won the battle.
That's how you split the families up.
Yeah. It was
Give them all go-karts and just make them fight each other.
Yeah, but my brother still races karts every now and again.
Does he?
Yeah. My dad is still heavily involved in go-karts, so he's on the board of Australian Karting Association.
Oh, really? Okay.
So he goes to a lot of go-kart races still, and it's
And you're the only one sort of advanced into, because I see obviously you start off a junior go-kart, but open wheel Formula Forward.
Formula Forward was the next category after karts. If you wanted to have a career in motor racing, all the young good kids went to Formula Forward and tried their luck out because you can be a very good go-kart driver, but you might be a terrible car racer.
Okay, right.
They are quite different to drive and get the hang of. So, I've known some world class, world champion go-karters that go into cars, can't drive cars. It's bloody bizarre.
I always find that interesting because all the time when you see V8 drivers or you see Formula One drivers, they've all come from go-karts.
Yes.
But obviously that's why not everyone makes it, because going from go-karts to the V8s or Formula One is totally different.
Well, and it's very, very expensive. So after Formula Ford, I actually won that championship in 2004, which is like awesome as a young kid. We looked to go overseas, and so I could possibly do Formula One. But the next step for me was in Formula 3 in Europe, which was £800,000 a year.
Oh, really? So that you had to pay out?
Yeah. So in our sport, it's weird. You got to it's like an investment.
Yeah, really.
You've got to actually stump up with the money to buy the, buy the car, pay for the team to run it and everything, and to do the racing. So racing is bloody expensive. It's a rich man's sport at the end of the day, which sucks. It's terrible.
100%.
So you almost got to pay. In our sports, you got to pay to get the experience, and then hopefully you're good enough to get paid to do it later in life.
That's right.
So it's like a small investment.
Yeah.
But obviously I wasn't going to find £800,000 being 19 years old. So I stayed in Australia and raced Carrera Cup the next year.
Yeah, I was going to say, that exotic sports car.
Exotic sports car, yeah. So Carrera Cup's like a one-make Porsche category around the world.
Yeah.
All the cars are the same. Built by the same, built by Porsche. It's all one make.
Okay.
In Supercar, every team sort of makes their own parts and makes their own pieces to put together in the car. Where one make championships, which is Carrera Cup, every car is exactly the same.
Okay.
So it comes down to obviously your driver skill, and obviously you do have like small setup windows, like you got your roll bars to change camber, toe, pressure. Yep. They're very, very small things.
Okay.
So it sort of comes down to who's behind the wheel.
Yeah.
Well, I think it does anyway.
Yeah. Who's the best?
Or who cheats the most? We haven't worked that out yet.
Yeah, right. And then obviously from there, you advance to the supercars. When was the first opportunity you got for the supercars?
So in 2000 and far out, when was it? Like 2006, I think it was.
Yep.
I was in my second year of Carrera Cup, and I met a guy who ran HSV.
Oh, okay.
Holden Special Vehicles, and he got me a job within that little team there, which is the Holden dealer team.
Yep.
Back then, and I worked at HSV in the marketing department.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was fucking stupid.
Let's find this bloke a job somewhere.
They gave me a job so I could learn about their world and their their cars and all their programs they have, and it was actually really, really cool. I didn't love having an office job because I wasn't doing really anything. I worked there for a bit. Yeah. And then at the end of 2008, I was still working for HSV in their marketing department.
Yeah.
I was their young junior driver.
Yeah. Okay.
And Rick Kelly left that team.
Yep.
And went to his own team, and that sort of gave me the opportunity to get a full-time seat.
Yeah.
And they found a sponsor in Bundaberg Rum, Bundaberg Red.
Yeah. Okay.
Bundaberg launched their new brand, which was Bundaberg Red.
Yep.
And they named me as the driver and slotted me in, and I went.
Wow, that's
and
cool.
Eyes wide open, like what the fuck have I got myself into type thing. It was bizarre.
What was the feeling when you did? Obviously, you got that seat, and it's like anything. When everyone gets an opportunity to go, it could be an NRL player, an AFL player, and then you go, I've been playing park footy for a while.
Yeah, it's completely
But then you
different,
step up and you go, you're playing today, and this is your debut.
Yeah.
What's that? Not so much, even the emotions, obviously the emotion's going to be high just because it's your dream as a kid.
Yeah.
But then the mental state, like where you have to go to, or is it just that much of a blur? You go, I'm just going to do the best I can, and I don't really care where it comes out as long as I get that drive.
Yeah, like as a young kid, it's bloody weird because you watch it your whole life.
Yeah.
You watch all these names, then you actually end up in the movie with them, like racing against them. It's like, what the fuck? It's the biggest trip ever. But to go from Carrera Cup to to Supercar was very difficult for me because, Carrera Cup's left-hand drive.
Oh, is it? Yeah, right.
400 horsepower, big tyre, heaps of grip. Supercar, right-hand drive, 650 horsepower, no grip.
Wow.
So that just the understanding of how to get the most out of the car was very, very different for me. And then you got very limited setup on the Carrera Cup car. Like you can't do fuck all to make it faster, but on the Supercar, and you got so much to play with. You need two engineers to work it out.
Yeah,
really.
yeah. Because I've had the opportunity, obviously, when you're in Newcastle, and I was in Newcastle, and you give me the tickets to the pit, the pit lane. That was a great experience for me because I took me, I think I took my daughter or my son along.
Yeah.
But just to be in that pit, and especially on the day of race day, just the amount of things that go on, like the pressure that's on in that pit there, I was blown away.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, like at the end of the day, people watch motor racing and think the driver's, solely responsible for their car, which he kind of is, but he's not really. Like behind the scenes, there's 35, sometimes 40 odd people behind the scenes to make those two cars go around the track. So there's a lot of like moving parts. There's a lot of things you can change.
Yeah.
The setup we talk about, we can change springs, roll bars, roll centers, toe, camber, squat, heave, mate. There's so many different things within the realm of possibility, and they all come with a window of numbers, and it's about moving the weight around and trying to get the most out of the tire. So, obviously the tire's the biggest thing that connects us to the road, and it's how to get the most out of that with the weight and control the weight of the car. Plus you got the power. Plus, there's so
many factors.
Mate, the type of track makes a difference. If there's bumps, if it's smooth, if it's rough. If there's curves, then the type of corner, if it's short, is it long?
Yeah.
How long you spend in the corner? Is it a big break, a small break?
And when you say it's all dollars.
Yeah, it's all dollars, mate. All dollars.
And when I was in that pit that day, and I see, obviously, you come in, I think you're racing with, I can't even pronounce his name, Desquala or...
Di Pasquale.
Yeah, I can't. I'm hopeless with names. Anton.
But he's a good kid. What year was that again? Was that 19 or 18?
Oh, God, I think it was before COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah, it could have been 19 or 18. Yeah.
Yeah,
if 19. It was 18, I won. But because
Cam Waters was with
Waters,
and we trained at the gym that I had up there at that time.
I can't remember when that was. Yeah,
I'm sure it was. It might have even been 18.
It was 18. I had a good time that year.
Yeah.
If it's 19, no, I did not really know.
It might have been 19. I don't know.
Far out.
Just the amount when the cars came in to change either tyres or put the petrol in, but just to see. Like little ants they were, and they were all in the seats. And then as soon as that car comes in, it was like, woo.
You got to get on, yeah.
And, the pressure underneath, you're talking 3-4 seconds. You've got to be in, out, done, boom. Yep. And you can hear, even when the car leaves and all the crew come back in, you hear them, fucking,
That means they've done a bad stop.
Yeah,
when they're yelling at each other, they've done a bad stop.
And I was like, they're nearly going at it in the old pit. Like you've already gone.
See, I never see any of this, so it's cool to hear it.
Yeah, no.
I'm always racing around the track, and I never hear what happens like in the pits. But there's always arguing if something hasn't happened.
The pressure must be so intense, even for
it is
because everyone's got their own job. You've got that wheel, you've got that wheel. You're on the petrol, and something only has to go where. Me thing's stuck, me pit. And everyone's like, forward going. And then obviously you're in there going, hey guys, what is going on? And then as soon as you take off, that's when even there was a couple of little glitches that day, I think. And then when all the crew come in, the pits, they were swearing going on, I told you to do what?
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, then quiet.
Yeah.
Then they're back to watching the screen. Yeah. I was like, wow.
I never see that, so it's cool to hear that.
That's a bit of pressure right there.
I hear a lot of the dramas they have, so.
Yeah.
Luckily, I never see that.
Oh, man.
It depends sometimes, if you got a good manager, they're well under control, and if shit goes wrong, that's when the good teams, I suppose, prosper. They can, deal with the situation or the fault that's happened better than, some of the amateur teams that are yelling and screaming at each other. So
it was definitely a crazy experience for me. But and what's you're sort of classed as in the V8s, and this is not my saying, this is what I've just sort of heard, and
What
as the class clown of the V8s. And,
I'm just
there is some statements that you've made over the time. And
made heaps.
Yeah, I know. And
cost me some money.
Yeah. Well, there was someone, I'd mentioned that I was doing the podcast with you, and someone said, oh, yeah, what about when he said, like, the women drive and the pussy wagon? And I was like, I didn't hear about that one.
Did you look that up?
No, I didn't. I didn't know.
You should have looked that up.
Yeah, I should have there. But like the reprimand, obviously, from that, obviously you being sort of like the character you are in V8. And to me, when I watch the V8s, you get all the ones who are so competitive. They seem to be trying to be serious all the time. Not that it works for them half the time, but then when you're doing interviews, and because I see all the media, they love to come and interview you because they get the laughs, they get the...
And they don't know what's going to be said. And
that's
neither do
right.
I. I've got no idea. Depends what they ask me and depends how I'm feeling.
Yeah, that's right. But from my point of view and what I've seen sort of in the V8s is you're pretty much, like, your humour is good. Like, it's everyone's infectious when it comes to Dave.
Thanks, man.
And being a decent human, when you got someone who's infectious with their character, it doesn't matter whether they're winning, losing, second, third, fourth. They always seem to attract to that person when they get interviewed and everything else. And
I think that stemmed when I was a young kid because I used to watch everyone get interviewed, like especially sports people. And I was like, these people are boring, aren't they? They just say the same shit. Yeah, right.
So that's how you sort of...
And I was like, no, I want to be different. So it turns out, I am different.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's by design or by choice. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, but it sort of makes Dave Reynolds, the driver, interesting rather than, some of the... And it goes to other sports when you get sports people and they just haven't... They've never studied media or they haven't paid attention or observed media. Yeah. And then they get in front of the camera or the microphone and they go, oh, so how do you feel today? Good.
Yeah.
And everyone's
like, when interview kids, they always just say one line. Like, how you feel, bud? Yeah, good.
They don't know what's going on.
They don't know what's going on. But they don't know how to make a story.
With you, it's more like, it's sort of like you can carry on a joke with the crew, and when the media come into the pits, they're like, Dave Reynolds, so, what's been happening? Yeah, I'm not quite sure. It's just one of those days.
That's me, mate.
You're telling it, and it's good to, I like it because, again, it's when you got someone who's an infectious character, you always like to hear what's he going to say, what's coming. And sometimes
I don't know what I'm going to say.
But that's what I mean. Like sometimes people say things, and then they go, okay, well, maybe I probably shouldn't have said that at that time, but I was feeling that's me. And I think...
That's why I've got fined many times in my life.
Yeah, do you? Yeah, right.
Well, and once with the pussy wagon thing was the biggest fine, that was like 25 grand, I think. That
was
it?
Me.
Yeah.
And obviously manager, he was sort of like, must have got on the phone and said, what the hell are you doing?
Mate, my manager, I've had the same manager for like 10 years now, probably.
Have you? Okay.
Johnny Ruggiero, just a good dude. I worked with him back in 2011. He was part of a team, and then he went out by himself and he started working for like drivers.
Oh, okay, yeah, right.
But I don't know. I feel so bad for him because he's always managing my shit.
Yeah, right.
Always shit behind the scenes. So
sometimes I
love him like he's like my mate, but I just feel bad for him. That pussy wagon one, that was a bit different. That was I thought I was doing a nice thing because there was two girls that run in Supercars. They were sponsored by Harvey Norman, I think.
Yeah.
And it was Renee, Gracie, and Simona di Silvestro. So, Renee was a young up and coming girl through the series, and Simona, she was a world class driver. I think she raced IndyCar at that time, and she's done heaps of other things. But they were legitimate, proper competitors. Yeah. And our team run that car.
Oh, really?
So they were actually part of our team at the. So it was like an in-house joke, but
it wasn't
it was an in-house joke, but apparently it wasn't.
Yeah,
not meant for mainstream media.
No.
Obviously, in our sport, any fine you get, it's tax deductible because it's not a government thing. It's a made-up fine. It's fake.
Yeah,
isn't
right.
it? It's not real. It's the price of doing business.
That's right.
So I got a big tax deduction. Plus, I paid it on my credit card, and I got a lot of Qantas points.
Hey, damn! No,
I got an upgrade to business class.
So really, this is the truth behind all the fines, because say you can just get the Qantas points up
and the tax deduction.
Tax deduction.
Yep.
See, David Reynolds.
Mate, it's always a positive. You've always got to look at the positive side.
You may be the smartest man in V8
I don't think
driving.
so. And I've got another theory about being smart in sport. Generally, the dumber you are, the better you are.
Fair enough.
So obviously I race all these supercar drivers and they are not very smart people. And generally the dumbest ones are the fastest ones.
Yeah, true. Well, so they've probably got no fear. They just, I don't care. I'm just going as fast as I can.
If you read too many books, you go slower. This happened to me over COVID when we were locked down for so long. I read a few books.
Yep.
You know, I got really wise. I drove the car fucking terribly slow.
Really?
And then I started hitting my head against the wall, drinking more piss, and fast again.
Oh my God, I'm fast again. What happened then? Let me think back to how that changed.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Could be correlated. I'm not really sure. But a lot of sports people, like, you know, the really, really good ones are not that bright, are they? They're just single focus, single track.
I think you get that in all sports. I mean,
that's what I mean.
Fighting game, definitely. They're the ones who are educated and they make some money out of fighting, and there's the one who aren't educated and make nothing. But they love the crowd. They love being known as a fighter.
But who's better? Who's better at their job?
Well, the ones who are obviously making money out of the fighting, but.
Yeah, but who's like a better fighter?
Better fighter is the dumbest ones.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't care.
Exactly. They just want to do their job.
Hit in the face. I don't care. I just want to keep going. I want everyone to see that I can take a punch.
They don't worry about all the other stuff that goes on.
No. And that's sometimes, as you say, it's a double-edged sword. Sometimes that's a good thing.
Sometimes.
But that's where you've got to have, again, the ones who are the dumbest ones have got to have good people around them.
Yes, exactly.
So that they can
like
sort
myself.
of... I wasn't saying that directly, but that's what I meant. No, I was only joking.
I know who I am.
So I wonder why when it gets back to the two girls in the V8s at that time, why do you think? Because there's no women drivers at the moment.
No,
and there's no rules to say there's not allowed any women. Is there?
If a woman or girl come up that was better than male, mate, they'd get the job. No worries. It's not about our sports. You know, it's predominantly males, but if it just goes to the best person for the job. Whoever's the best qualified or best equipped for the job, they'll get the job. It doesn't matter sex, race. That doesn't matter.
Why do you think there is sort of less women actually driving the V8s? Is it because of a lot of different factors? Obviously, the telltale, which I want to get in with you in regards to what toll on the body it takes.
No, nothing to do with that. I think, you know, girls growing up, they wanted to ride ponies.
That's right. Yeah, true.
And not race cars.
Yeah.
But it's sort of, I think it might be changing now. Like I go to the go-kart tracks sometimes now, and I do see a lot of young girls competing, which is, I've never seen that growing up before. It's always predominantly been a boy sport.
Yeah. And I thought
that could be changing, but it's just that it's, you know, girls don't want to race cars. They don't want to work on cars. They want to, you know, be nurses and care for people, where men, we don't care for each other.
We just want to run each other off the road and smash into each other. Yeah, no, that's when you mentioned that other that segment before, I was like, I wonder why there isn't that many women in there. But
they do, like, lately they've started, like, global motorsport have started, like, the W Series.
Okay,
so they do have some sort of...
I was going to say, because AFL, rugby league, like, a lot of sports have a, you know, where they've got the junior programs going, and then...
The female arm.
The female, like, all the rest of the females play with the junior boys and all that sort of stuff they get up to. And obviously now AFL, rugby league's got the women's competitions going on, which is... Sometimes the games are more physical and harder because obviously the women go, we've got to prove ourselves how hard we are, and they're harder than the guys.
They can be, can't
they? Bro, I've seen some football.
They're not worried about injuries, are they? They're just going.
The state of origins from the women's rugby league and then the AFL games, I've seen the women play. Mate, they do not care. They just like run in, kamikaze, boom, big hits, and you're like, damn, no one, where's all this sport been for a long time, you know? So it'd be interesting to get some of the women into car racing to have a bit of that difference and see, you know, what the difference would be.
In our sport, it's got nothing to do with physical capacity at all.
No.
So you don't have to be super strong. You don't have to be super fit. You can be overweight and drive the car bloody fast. So it doesn't matter where you come from, what gender you are.
Yep.
You know, you can drive the car fast, and that's a good thing about our sport.
Yeah, true that.
You can be the fittest person, take all the steroids in the world, and have zero performance in gain. It can be that sort of that sport.
Yeah, right.
It's all in your head.
Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it?
It is. It's
bloody weird.
It's crazy. But then getting back to my next question is, like, your body, like what, because I've seen so many times and I've looked at footage and I've watched you race so many times, and just the training you have to do?
Yep.
What's sort of your go-to training, or not just you, but what's the sort of a thing that a lot of the car drivers do for the endurance of a race like that?
The biggest thing we struggle with in motor racing, especially being a car driver, is the heat.
Yeah,
It is, and I'm not one to. I just can't get used to it somehow. No matter how many saunas I do or whatever, I just struggle with the heat really, really badly.
Yeah.
So for us, it's usually 25 degrees above ambient temperature inside the cabin of the car.
Yep.
So on a normal day it's 25, it's 50 for us.
Yep.
So we're sweltering in 2-hour races some days in 50-degree heat. It can be fucking hard, and your heart rate's always around that 160, 170 mark for 2 hours. So even though people don't see it as a physical sport, it is very, very physical.
Yep.
And this is where I've done a lot of I've obviously been in the sport for a long time. I've done a lot of research into it, just with my own self. Yeah. I've been 10 kilos heavier, 10 kilos lighter.
Yep.
10 kilos heavier, the races are much easier for me.
Yeah, right.
The only thing I could figure out was that you can, obviously fat stores a bit of water.
Yep.
And insulates you against the heat. The fatter you are, the longer you take to heat up.
Yeah,
the longer you take to cool down.
Oh, wow.
And when you're really skinny, the quicker you heat up, the quicker you cool down.
Yeah,
but in the car, you heat up very quick.
Yep.
And you don't cool down till you get out of the car.
Yeah,
so it's
true.
So when we always notice this as supercar drivers, you see the fatter guys in our sport, the really fat guys, they get out of their car not sweat on them, no dramas whatsoever. You see the really fit guys running marathons, doing this, doing that. They get out of the car, red face, drained, sweat pissing out of them. It's like, I think I'd rather be the fat guy. Hey?
Yeah, 100%. Because I do remember watching some footage, and that happened with you, where the heat got too much
a few times,
and you at that stage you even sort of saying you're a bit delusional at some stages, or your body was just not coping, and you wanted to keep going because obviously you being a competitor as you are.
That was Bathurst 2018. The Bathurst is our biggest race of the year. It's the grand final. It's the be all and end all. You could come last every race during the season, and you could win Bathurst and still have the greatest year of your life. It is that sort of up and down.
That was me question after. I want to see the fitness and what the body takes through that toll. But going back to that,
with that one, that was quite different because our sport's very different. We're very accessible during the week, so we do heaps of media commitments up to the biggest, up into the lead up to the biggest race of the year. If I was an AFL player or something, they'd be saying, just rest, recuperate, get yourself ready for the big game, and then worry about that stuff after. Where, because 2017 was the year before we won that race.
That's right.
2018 rolls up. Who does all the media want to talk to?
Yeah,
the team that won.
That's right.
I did 35 appearances in 3 days leading up to the biggest race of the year, and I got to the track just fucking smoked. My brain was dead. I talked to too many people, gave myself out too much, and I suffered from something called adrenal fatigue. Yeah, so obviously you know what adrenals are. They sort of get you up and about and keep you going. That pumps adrenaline and through your body and whatnot. And during the race, obviously my adrenals shut down and started shutting my body down. They just cut my legs off. Which is not good because we had the fastest car. We qualified on pole, which is probably another downside because, you qualify on pole, who's everyone want to talk to? The pole man. If 100%. I qualified second, I reckon I could have won that race.
Yeah, right.
Because then, obviously you go to bed I got the fastest car. I got to win the race. Got to win the race. Have 3 hours sleep. Wake up. Try and do a 1,000K race, and I had an end point in my body. Unfortunately, it happened when I was leading the race. We literally had every lap of that race. It was ridiculous. My car was just bullshit awesome that year. And then my body started shutting down with about 25 to go, 20 laps to go or something when we were in the lead.
Wow.
So it was.
Can you not? Obviously, you got another partner who jumps in the car.
Yeah, but at that time we already done the last stop.
And you're only allowed certain stops from that,
we'll field up to the end at that point. So if we come in, then everyone would have just jumped us on.
Lapped us,
not lapped us, but we would have been way down the order. It sucks. It was it was just that's the most disappointing race in my life by far.
Yeah, true.
And it was not cool because, picture yourself going 300 Ks down Conrod Straight and you're coming up to the braking zone and your brain's telling your foot to get off the brake, but it's cramped It's stuck on the throttle and you can't move your leg. It's stuck. It's like, holy fuck, I'm going to shunt. And then I don't know, all of a sudden you start having these like thoughts and feelings. And then, by the time they pulled me out of the car, I couldn't hold a constant throttle down the straight. I couldn't hold 100% throttle because my foot was cramping that bad. It was just coming on and off. It was. That's
just crazy.
Yeah, it was a bad time, man. It was a really bad time.
Yeah, and how
it's quite dangerous as well.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
but like as like, you know, there's obviously, as a racing driver, you do crash from time to time and have big ones from time to time.
Yeah,
but that's, you know, you'd never think about it. You never like, I'm gonna shunt or you don't care.
And how was, obviously, you know, going through, your body's already gone through that, but how was the mindset after that? Obviously, totally disappointed and shattered.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get over that, or you probably never get over that sort of thing? It'll always haunt you in that retrospective.
Yes, it took me about 8 days to walk again properly.
Really?
And then we got a race 2 weeks after that, so I had literally 10 days or something to get myself ready for the next race.
Wow.
So after I could walk again, I had heaps of massage, heaps of physio,
100%.
trying to like break the knots up that were just holding my my foot in that position. It was very, very painful.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, like the mental side, like because I went through such a bad cramping phase in that one, I still suffer from cramps occasionally. I always think my feet are going to cramp.
Wow.
Strange, very strange. I don't know if that's just a mental thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you
think
it's
just
just
more
a mental
aware of
thing?
it? I don't know, but my feet have always had that sort of feeling about them.
Yeah, right.
Which sucks.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So going back from 2018.
It's probably like getting knocked out, isn't it?
Yeah, well, 100%.
Like
100%.
You're probably more likely to get knocked out again.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of...
Don't they say that?
There's a lot of different factors, I think, with like the racing, as you said, a week out from the fights, especially when you're a high-level athlete. Like, say, the MMA at the moment, they do a week of media all the way leading up to the fight. They fight, and whatever you say in the media, you know, I'm going to bust him over.
Yeah, of course.
But then
they're fighting each other.
That's right. But then they get in the fight.
Well, they sometimes do.
Yeah. They get in the fight and they get knocked out. And obviously then they got to, you know, obviously they go through that mindset, that whole down sort of spiral. Some go, well, that's a part of fighting and move on. Some go into a spiral and you don't see them for months on end. But yeah, it's always interesting, especially in that circumstance that you had that year in 2018. When the body went through that, like mentally, you know, there'll be always that little part in your brain that goes, remember that time, remember that feeling.
Yeah, remember that feeling.
Remember that feeling.
It's funny because like it happened in my brain first. I felt like a spark in my brain and then my foot cramped.
Yeah, right.
It was bloody bizarre.
Yeah, wow.
It was like a twinge in my brain, in my head, and then my foot cramped. And I was like, oh.
Wow.
And my doctor explained it's like, because the way a cramp works, it sends a message down to your body and doesn't get received back or something, and that's why it cramps up.
Oh, wow.
It told your body to contract, and then the opposite side didn't work or something. That's how it cramps.
Wow.
I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's how I felt.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's it. Then the doctor hit
computer says nah.
It's not happening. So going back from 2018, which was the shit year and shit time.
But it was also a great time because we had pole, we had a super fast car.
100%,
We had the lap record 2 years in a row.
Yep.
Like, my car was on fire.
Yeah. And 2017.
Like, rarely do you get opportunities like to drive cars like that fast.
Oh, 100%. But 2017 is the year that childhood dream was
realised.
Yep. and you won the... Is that like the pinnacle of racing, as you said? Like you can win certain races, but even growing up from a 6-year-old, 7-year-old go-karter and then starting to watch racing, then all of a sudden here you are at Bathurst and then you're on the podium as the winner.
Yep,
like that feeling.
You can't describe. It's the greatest feeling of your life by far.
Other than
besides having kids, I was about to say kids are still the greatest part.
They're always the number one.
Always,
even if they're not, you got to say that just in case the wife's watching. Yeah, they are.
I suppose I won Bathurst, then I had kids later in life.
Yeah, true.
Having kids is way better.
Oh, 100%.
Way
100%,
better.
Yeah,
even though they're much harder work.
They can be.
Obviously, winning Bathurst as a racing car driver is the biggest and best achievement in Australian motorsport by far.
Yeah.
Like you can win other races through your life and it has no comparison compared to that feeling on that day.
Yep.
And everyone watching and just the history of the sport, the style of race it is.
Yep.
It's fucking cool. And the way we won it was really cool because our team back then, I was racing for Erebus Motorsport at the time, and that was probably one of the worst teams in pit lane.
Oh, really?
So yeah. So pit lane order goes in how good your combined two cars points were from the year before. So obviously they have the 888 car, the DJR cars right up the front. They score all the points. Cool. We were the second last in pit lane.
Oh, really?
So yeah, we were the second worst team in 2016.
Wow.
And then so fast forward almost a year later, and we win the biggest race of the year. It was incredible.
That's an incredible,
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Wow.
But like, I was with the team and I watched the transition through 16 into 17.
Yeah.
The parts we made, the people we employed, and you could sort of see it all spiraling into how it all happened. And then after that, we did very well and won some races after that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we made some really trick componentry for our car.
Yeah.
Like these twin spring things that no one else had at the time.
Yeah.
And my car was fucking incredible.
It's crazy how little things like that can change.
Little tiny springs this big.
Wow.
Make huge differences in our sport. It's ridiculous.
That is crazy.
Absolutely ridiculous.
When we talk about money, like the cost of these, because obviously Formula One's like millions and millions and hundreds of millions.
I think they're capped now at only like 180 million or something.
Is it?
Yeah, well, that's what they spend on development, but that's not.
Yeah,
but they probably spend another double that.
Yeah, right.
To run the team behind the scenes.
What sort of
dollars we spend?
Yeah, off the top of your head, what sort of dollars per year, or how does it work with dollar wise?
A two-car team would probably run. Like a basic two-car team will probably run $5 or $6 million a year.
Right.
But the top teams, they probably run off $10 to $12 million a year.
Yeah, right. That's just obviously changing modifications to the cars.
Yep.
Do you have rules on like car engines or how things got to be built? Same as like us, I only sort of see that on the Formula Ones. They're not allowed to have little enhancements or things like that. So the V8s are similar?
Ours are quite similar. There are a number of controlled componentry.
Yep.
The engines are, everyone has their own sort of engine builder. Some teams use the same one.
Yep.
And they have like it's like a metric measurement of, points per fucking RPM through this power, through this range. You're not allowed to make more than that.
Yeah, right.
And it's very confusing. I don't understand. Technical. It's very technical.
I call it technical.
Dude,
but really it's confusing.
I'm a driver. We're supposed to be really dumb, remember?
You just get in and make sure when that speed's on, and you don't care how it's done, just as long as it's within the regulations.
Obviously, with our sport, there comes a big rule book of how you run your car and whatnot, and everyone tries to read and interpret and exploit the rules in a different way.
Yeah.
So it's like if I was a cyclist or something and I had to have, do you know much about hematocrit levels?
No.
So hematocrit is, I think it is the amount of red blood cells in your blood, and say it's 50. Yeah. Say you're allowed 50.
Yep.
Whatever it is, everyone's slightly different, but say your thing's 50, and obviously if you train, obviously it starts to die off, and over the 2 weeks of the Tour de France, it should be very low. But if you test yourself at 50 and then 2 weeks later you're 50 within after doing all this hard events, you'd start scratching your head, going, "Hang on, something's a bit wrong here."
Yeah.
Which kind of happens in our sport as well. Like everyone pushes the rules and the boundaries as much as they could. Yeah. Some teams are much better at reading the rules and interpreting and pushing the boundary better than other teams. And that's why I think they're always winning the races. So that's people spend, that's where they spend most of their time, is looking at the rules and seeing what that means and what they can get out of it. So it's a funny sport. It's a very technical sport.
Yeah, right.
Which it's good and bad.
Yeah.
It's good because there's so much to know and so much knowledge that you need to know about the sport, but fuck, it can do your head in.
Oh,
it does your head in.
Just imagine. That's why being a driver, you just leave all that technical stuff and but you would have to know, I suppose, a certain degree.
Yeah, we do. We have to know. We
that.
have to know a little bit. Obviously, the engineers are super paramount in our game. They understand the cars way, way better than we ever would. We can just drive them very fast.
Yeah,
and that's
right.
something they can't do.
Yeah,
and we have the feeling of, okay, they changed the roll center or changed the front roll bar one click softer, and it does that, or we can feel this.
Right.
When we so every now and again we do rides, like we put a passenger seat in and take people for rides. We put them in the car, and we'll do one lap, and then we'll go full stiff on the rear bar, and then we'll do another lap, and they'll be like, "How the fuck can you tell that's any different?" I'm like, "Yeah, we do."
Really? Yeah.
For us, everything makes a huge difference.
I suppose because you're living and breathing it every day.
Every corner, every lap. Yeah, we can feel the slightest movement. If they move if they move the toe half a mil in, half a mil, we can feel that. We can feel what it does to the car, makes the front push more, makes the rear step out more. It makes a huge difference. They move the wing move the rear wing like a mil, 1 mil, or move the ride height 1 mil, and
you can just know that
it changes the balance of the car. It's fucking bizarre.
That is bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so bizarre.
I suppose it's the same as like when you get those big yacht races or something like that. They're only just minute little changes, but it makes a massive difference. It's just, from the outside looking in, for the plebs like me, I wouldn't even know if they put, oh my God, that's been put up a millimetre or 2 millimetres. You're like,
what would that do?
Yeah.
What's that matter?
That should make a difference.
So
being professional on the couch, that shouldn't make a difference.
So obviously, like, our qualifying is between first and last, might be a second between 24 cars. So if you move the rear ride height by 1 mil, one tiny little mil, you might find 0.2 of a second, or lose 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, right.
So that could catapult you from 15th to 8th, or from 5th to 1st.
Yeah, right.
Like it's huge difference.
That is.
That's like, and the car's just out of control, sensitive.
Wow.
It makes no sense, but it's just It's the biggest head fuck of a sport.
Oh,
I wish I never did it.
Back in the
I wish I did something that just dealt with.
I blame me mum and dad for that one, for getting me into those sort of.
No, I was very, very, very thankful for the life they gave me, and I couldn't have done it without them. At all.
And it's I mean, you've made a great career out of it, and hopefully the career continues on and does all that sort of. Hopefully, win some more Bathurst. That's what we want. That's what
this year might be slightly harder.
Yeah.
Because we've got an engine at the minute that burns a lot more fuel than all the other cars.
Yep.
So we're going to spend more time in pit lane, and we don't have the maximum power that it could have. So obviously Bathurst is 2 big drag strips. Engine power there. So we're going to spend more time down the straights and more time in pit lane. It's not.
Yeah.
You have to make it up with car and strategy, which is going to be very, very hard.
Yeah, 100%.
It's the weirdest sport.
When you got the 2 drivers in the teams, how competitive are they? Like, you've got your partner,
my teammate, myself and Lee Holdsworth.
Yeah, and
we're obviously
it's like Formula One, because even though Formula One's you're under the same banner here, but there's 2 different ways. Like
in Formula One they only ever measure you against your teammate. Because that's the only person with the same equipment as you.
That's right.
And it's sort of similar in our sport, but it is similar. But obviously, Lee's he's similar age to me. He's been experienced. We're not really trying to beat each other. We're just trying to beat everyone else.
Right.
So we're trying to work together to make our cars better than everyone else's.
Yeah.
But it's quite funny at the minute because obviously our team's built these 2 cars.
Yep.
And every time we drive them, like we'd swap cars. And we'll drive each other's car. They feel fucking completely different.
Really?
Which is it's the biggest engineering cluster drama we've had.
Because you're so used to your car?
Well, no, because if I try something in my car, like I might get a gain for it, and then he tries it in his car and he goes slower. And they're like, hang on, that shouldn't happen. So they're like rating roll bars, they're measuring all this stuff on the car to try and figure out what's actually different in his car, and we don't know yet.
Yeah, wow.
So normally you'd have 2 cars that are identical, and you go to the track and go, okay, you guys try softer front spring, you guys try stiffer front spring, and find out what was better.
Yep.
Normally you'd know, but this time it might be, both were better.
Yeah, right.
That makes no sense. Or both were worse.
Yeah,
what's going on.
Wow.
It's a real drama at the minute.
That's when you don't want to be an engineer. You're like,
no, not
how
at all.
do I work this out?
It's really, really hard. So what we have to do then is really just concentrate on your own car and not worry about what they've been doing on their side.
Yep.
Which is not helpful when you're trying to win the overall weekend.
Yep.
It makes it very difficult because you can't really learn from each other.
No.
So you're kind of down your own path.
Trying to work out as you go.
It sucks.
Yeah.
Sucks.
That part would.
Yeah.
That part would.
It can be the biggest drama.
So what outside of car racing, what's business? What's business for Dave Reynolds like?
What do you mean? What's business?
Do you do other business, or is just car racing is your thing? Like you got no other little?
Oh, mate,
you might have. I don't know. Whatever.
What do I do? What do I do outside of the sport? I love like stock market stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Love reading about it. Love.
I need to get some.
No, not now.
Oh no.
Well, there's heaps of pain coming. Probably more pain coming for everyone. Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone's taking
it has hit a bit of a lull.
Yeah, I've regretted anything I've bought this year.
Yeah, true. I have got a share that I might be able to tell you might be all right in 6 weeks or so.
In 6 weeks,
yeah, it'll start to grow again.
Oh, tell me after.
Yeah, 100%. Not on here. No.
What else do I do? Just look after my kid, hang out with my family. The last couple of years, we ran a podcast called Below the Bonnet, which is like a motorsport-based podcast.
Yep.
And we ended up on KO.
Oh, nice.
So we were filmed and everything.
Yeah, cool.
And we got flung from KO at the end of the year.
Really?
Yeah. That's another story. Through my endeavors, my life endeavors. I think. That cost me. Yeah. Anyway, that's another story.
I think there was one statement. This is why I love your character, because when you said, I think you were in pit lane and someone said, "Mate, what is it? Something
racing cars like poetry, and everyone hates poetry."
Yeah. And then as soon as I heard that, I was like, man, that's as true. That's as true as it comes. Everyone, there's very limited amount of people who love poetry, but honesty's like poetry.
Honesty, that's it.
That's right. Honesty's like poetry, and no one likes poetry.
That's true. Yeah.
And I watched that one, and I was pissing myself laughing.
As long as I made you laugh, Rich. That's all.
No, mate. That's all. That's all I'm about is just making myself laugh.
What else do I do? Well, yeah, that KO stuff. I knew it was kind of doomed from the start when I turned up absolute shit-faced for our first meeting. Going to the pub and having lunch before was a bad idea.
Oh, bad idea. And then they turned up and I said, no, mate, you're
Well,
right.
I think they liked it because they thought I might be a loose cannon, which I was.
A bit of fighting is you love too, Muay Thai.
Yeah, I love you.
Obviously,
I met Hammer. We were sponsored by Harley Heaven back in 2015, 2014, I think it was. And I met Hammer, and then he said, come to the gym one day. I'm like, yeah, fuck, why not? I've never thrown a punch in anger in my life, and then went to the gym and just loved it. Yeah. Loved the kicking, because I remember coming up to Newcastle, we had a bit of a training session. We had a bit of training sessions. So, if I went on the road somewhere, I always take my gloves in the
because I think you were up with John Wayne Parra as well at the Gold Coast. Or was that just Cam Waters?
No, that was me and him. So obviously,
because Cam likes it as well.
Yeah, Cam loves it. I think
he's a character.
Did I get him into it? Maybe, I'm not sure. I think he did boxing. I said you should try Muay Thai. And he loved it.
Because I remember him coming along to the Newcastle gym as well and having a bit of a kick as well.
I met Hammer in 15 or 14 or whatever it was. I went to the gym and loved, obviously, Hammer as a super legend. He's a cool guy.
He's awesome one of the legends, man.
And very motivational, very helpful. And I thought, I like this guy. I'm going to hang out with him more. So we did heaps of training together. And at one point, I wanted to do a fight. And I thought, fuck, that's a dumb idea. What am I doing? So I didn't do it.
One of my bright ideas.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad I didn't go ahead with that because I probably would have died.
Oh man, that would have been a sight. Bro.
Yeah, that would have been a sight.
Dave Reynolds having his first Muay Thai fight.
Yeah. Glad I didn't.
Yeah, but in general, do you like watching the fights?
Yeah, mate.
MMA, Muay Thai, boxing.
UFC, love watching boxing. Yeah, love the whole fight game. Never was into it before I met Hammer, and he sort of got me into it.
Yeah, right.
And I have huge respect for it. And the whole business of it. Because the whole mental side, the whole physical side. Like obviously they're super fit humans. They train like animals, and I love it. It's because
I think the first time we met each other was through one of our other, obviously, mutual friends, Kyle Noak.
Yeah.
One of the all-time greats of Australian MMA, and I think it was when the UFC was in town.
Yeah.
And we're at a bar with Cowboy Cerrone.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Cowboy Cerrone, Kyle Noak, and myself and you.
Yeah.
And And then we had all the gathering, everyone who, because Cowboys like, I'm at this bar, and then everyone just piled to this bar.
In. Yeah, that was cool.
That was a big afternoon, that one.
That was a fun day. And we're planning to go scuba diving the next day because he loves scuba diving, and then we never went.
Yeah, no,
I think he got too pissed.
I think everyone was a bit on the
that was a cool
drunk
day.
side there. Yeah, that was a good day, that one.
What fight was that? What main card was that again?
I think... Wasn't it Ronda Rousey and Holly Holm?
Was it? Nah, couldn't have been.
No, actually, now I think that, no.
Was it Gastelum?
Was it Whittaker and
Gastelum and one of them
Whittaker pulled out, and then it was Silva. Wasn't it Silva and
was that
and
right?
Adesanya. I don't know now. I can't remember.
My memory's so bad.
You got me when you said that.
Now you're trying to film us. Our memory's like, this is not going good.
Nah, that's all good. That's all
good.
No,
but I train every day still.
Yep.
Not every day, but
you know,
6 days a week.
Yep.
Run, ride, swim, gym.
Yep.
Changed my diet quite dramatically this year.
Did you?
Tried that carnivore diet.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, have you tried that?
No.
Fuck, awesome.
Really?
Yeah, I lost like 7 kilos in a month.
Really?
And
well, just isn't it just meats?
Just literally meat, organs.
Really?
And then I started to get like cramping really badly.
Yeah.
And so I had to eat fruit and honey to sort of negate that as well.
Right. Balance it out.
Yeah.
Oh wow, no, I haven't. I haven't
still
tried
lost
that.
I've still kept my weight off. I got heaps stronger.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
heaps stronger. I'm not a very strong person, but yeah, that sort of almost doubled my strength quickly as well.
I don't know about the organs thing. What sort of organs are we talking about?
Like liver and heart. And all that shit. But you just buy the tablets if you can't.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but like there's nothing better than nothing's better for you than like liver. So this morning I cut up liver and just swallowed it whole.
Oh man,
tastes like blood.
That's like doing the old Rocky where you pour all the eggs in there, and just nothing in it, just the yolk and the.
Yeah, I know. Gross.
Oh man, that's
You should give it a go.
I don't know about that stuff, bro.
It is expensive, but there are cheaper ways to do it. Well, like this morning I had Scotch fillet steak, 300 grams, which is how much would that cost? $20 or something?
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever it is. Like you have that. You only eat twice a day.
Oh, do you?
You're not hungry otherwise.
Oh, wow.
You have enough fats and protein to keep you full. That's what I found. Like
I might have a look in there. I don't know. As I say, I don't know about the organ stuff. The meat stuff, 100% I can do that, but the organ stuff, I don't know. It used to be like when I was a kid, salmon or tuna, I'll have salmon or tuna, and you're like, hell no, it smells like cat food.
Yeah.
But I suppose when you start the organ, eating different organs and liver and all that sort of stuff.
Very good for you, they say.
Yeah, right, they say.
They say. I don't know. We'll find out. 100%. I'm experimenting on myself again. So.
100%.
But I've tried basically every diet there is, I reckon, and I found this one to be the easiest one to follow and the one I felt the best on.
Yeah, right. Well, that is
weird.
Good. That is good to know.
Give it a go. Let me know how you go.
I'll definitely won't be doing that. I'll have a crack. And so fatherhood,
yep,
amazing.
Yeah, the best.
Beautiful wife, obviously. The son's come. He's growing up faster and faster all the time.
My little son Ryu.
Yeah.
Do you remember Street Fighter?
Yeah.
Street Fighter from the 80s. That's what he's named from. Ryu.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Ryu Reynolds. Isn't that a fucking cool name?
That is a cool name, actually.
I love him. He's the coolest little kid. He's so happy and funny, and it just makes your life just perfect.
It takes the children. I mean, my children are older now, but it just enlightens your life to another level, And you realise when you didn't have kids,
how selfish
and you go, I've only got to look after myself, and even though you're looking after yourself, you're still whinging and whining that the world's against you.
Yep.
But then when you have children and then you think, now I've got to actually raise this human.
Yeah, and how do you want to raise him?
Yeah, I can't let anything happen to. So that's what I say. Like having a boy's great. I was lucky enough to have a girl first.
Yeah.
So that was cool because I think when you have a daughter, that's when
a male.
Yeah, that's when that's when you really realise what true love is.
Yeah.
You can have your wife and everything else, but when you have a daughter, that's like true love because you like. As a man, what you used to look at women and think of women, you're like, that's not happening to my daughter. Things have got to change in this world. Yeah, well, that's what everyone. The daughter, if they bring anyone home, what are you going to do, Rich? I'll introduce myself while I'm watching the old YouTube fights. Come on in here, son. Sit down.
Would you really? Yeah.
Nah, I wouldn't. But all my sort of daughters' friends, they all sort of follow on social medias and all that. So.
Yeah.
They already
know what you're like.
They know what I'm like. They just think I'm a larrikin and a bit of a turkey, so that doesn't worry me.
Well, how old were you when you had kids?
I think I was about 29.
Okay.
And
as soon as I think I was 35. As soon as he was born, I thought to myself, I wish I had him earlier.
Yeah.
I wish I did this 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So you spend more time with them in your life.
Yeah. 100%. And I've been lucky enough.
That's
obviously,
one thing I regret.
Yeah.
Definitely regret.
And I've been lucky enough over the last 10 years to raise my own 2 children myself. And that's been such a blessing just to spend from when they were 10 and 8 or 9, just to raise them and be their friends.
Yeah.
As a friends, but also be their father.
Yeah.
That's been the best journey that I've ever had.
Well,
so
my little boy, so he's only 18 months.
Yeah.
So he'll almost be 18 months today. So
yeah, right.
And tomorrow maybe on the 25th. So what's the date today? The 20.
Oh, geez, it'd be, I don't know.
Whatever it is.
23rd, actually. 23rd.
So in a couple of days, he'll be 18 months. So yeah.
All right.
Hopefully I'll get to experience all this later.
100%.
Right now I'm just trying to watch him grow up.
Yeah.
He's just the maddest little
and that's
kid.
what I mean. Like, you
happy and just
try and
funny.
take that every moment.
Yeah.
And it's hard with your sport being away and driving. But
when I'm away, but when I'm home, I'm home.
Yeah, 100%. That's good.
So it balances out very well. So when I'm home, I try and be at home and be present and hang out with him and muck around.
Not do podcasts with turkeys like me.
It's all good, Ace. I love doing this stuff. It's fun.
But before we do finish up, I had a few, because I always put it out there to a few crew to say, what your questions in regards to who I'm interviewing. If you weren't driving, what do you think you'd be doing?
What I'd be doing? I'd either be still playing tennis, or I'd be a dental technician.
Oh, because of Dad.
Because of Dad, yeah. So I actually did a year's apprenticeship making false teeth and
did
crown
ya?
and bridge and gold teeth and all that stuff.
Yeah, right.
And then I moved to Melbourne, started racing cars professionally.
So because you're originally from where, the Gold Coast?
Albury or Wodonga.
Oh, okay. I thought you were the Gold Coast for some reason.
No. We lived on the Gold Coast during COVID. That's when I was training with John Wayne Parr.
Yeah, right.
Because we couldn't live in Victoria.
No. Well, you wouldn't want to live in Victoria.
What are we doing here?
I come down on
what the fuck are we doing?
January 21 and I was like...
Worst time, eh?
I was lucky enough because we were just constructing the gym, so it took 3 or 4 months, and which was lockdown.
You could have spent a lot of time actually doing it.
Oh, because
nothing else was
in
going
the first
on.
year of lockdown, I was in Newcastle, so it was good because I'd just travel the beach, go surfing, go to coffee. There really wasn't a lockdown in Newcastle at that, because I think Newcastle is a separate city in the world itself. But what's one of the most embarrassing moments when you were doing the competition in regards to driving?
Embarrassing. So in motor racing, you go grid up.
Yeah.
So they put you out and they send you out in pit lane, and then you go take your starting grid.
Yep.
And I put it in the sand on the outlap.
Oh no.
They put me on it was pissing down rain.
Yeah.
And they put me on slick tires.
Oh,
and they said, do you want to put wets on? I said, oh, no, I'll be right. I'll just cruise around. And of course I get out there. I'm like, fuck, where's the grip out here? So I try to go exploring.
Oh.
And it was at Eastern Creek, and down the back, they resurfaced a new bit of tarmac.
Yeah.
And if anyone knows, when they resurface something and then it rains, it gets fucking super slippery.
Yeah, right.
Because there's the water doesn't dissipate and the oils come out of the tar. So as soon as I hit that, I just started spinning like in slow motion. I'm like, oh, fucking hell, this is going to be embarrassing. And then I smashed into the sand. And then I was like, fuck, that's embarrassing. I'm sitting there thinking, and then literally 10 seconds later, I hear this lock up, and then my teammate's buried in beside me. I'm like, woo! I'm not the biggest ticket on the field.
Oh, that's a classic. That is a classic.
It was piss funny. Chaz Mostert buried it next to me.
Oh, man, that would be funny to see. Two of the boys together.
The marshals push us out.
Playing in the sandpit.
Then the marshals push us out, and there's like stones and shit in my car. And I'm just like crawling like back with my tail between my legs to the grid, and I grid up, and the boys going, where'd you go? I'm like, yeah, I had a moment.
Had a moment.
I beached it.
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, it was so fucking embarrassing.
Dream car. What is your dream car? Obviously your race car, but what,
my dream car would probably be a like 911, Porsche 911 turbo, something like that.
Yeah.
I love those cars.
Yeah.
Or a GT2, something like that. They're awesome.
Obviously you've answered this one, the best sporting moment. Obviously the Bathurst, 2017. And people.
Well, the first time I did a shoey.
Oh, that's when was that?
Like 2015.
Oh, was
June
it?
2015, yeah.
Was that before Ricardo started on him, or Bam Bam started on him, or?
Yeah, they all did it years after me.
Oh, you're the inventor of it. What are these crew doing? Copying Dave Reynolds.
I think I won the Darwin race and did it then, and everyone's like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Oh yeah,
you're a dickhead.
I wonder why that hasn't been at the forefront of all these shows.
They're all ragging on me, going, "What are you doing that? That's stupid."
Now it's the biggest thing
everyone
ever.
does it,
all because of Dave Reynolds.
Oh, not because of me. Just we're Australian idiots, aren't we?
We are. Best advice you've received?
Oh. Far out.
Other than, stop getting fined.
Stop getting fined. Best advice I've received.
Yeah.
Far out.
There's probably been that many of them.
There's been heaps of them.
What I'll change it. What piece of advice would you give to an up-and-coming male or female
in motor racing?
In motor racing.
Mine's not very
a little giggle.
Mine's not encouraging. I'd say not to do it. Because it's just so hard. It's so expensive. Unless you've got heaps of money behind you, it's so hard. The last year of my DVS year, which was 2008, I was 22, and I had to find $450,000.
Wow!
I had to find the money to get in to drive that car for the year.
Wow!
And I learned a lot from it. I did a lot of B2B, so a lot of business to business, and I was the shonky salesman that I made cuts from it, and that's how I funded my racing.
The Wolf of Wall Street.
The Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, Dave Reynolds.
Mate, it was bad.
Why haven't they done a movie of that?
As a kid, that's fuck, that's a big task, but I got there in the end.
Really?
Yeah,
wow,
I made it just.
That's amazing.
I put my whole wage in there. I begged, borrowed, and stealed, and did dodgy deals like that. So
I'll always say when someone really wants to do something,
yes,
they'll always find 100%. A way of doing it, innit?
And I suppose that's my bit of advice. Don't have a plan B.
Yeah.
Don't have a plan B, because
just live
your
and
plan
breathe.
B will become your plan A.
Yeah. Okay.
I never wanted to do anything else. I never wanted to learn about anything else or anything like that. My plan A was just to...
I always find that whenever someone's a champion at their sport, it's because they live, they breathe it, they eat it, they shit it, they do whatever they got to do, but that's all there is in their life.
Yep. It's funny that, isn't it?
There's
no plan B.
No.
And that's me.
And fighters are the same. You get them in the gym and they're like, oh, I want to be a fighter, but then they got other things going on. They're like, you'll never be a fighter because you're just not dedicated enough.
Not focused enough.
But that's sport in general, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't it? So that's my piece of advice. Don't have a plan B.
Yeah. Have you got any hidden talents?
Like what?
I don't know. I'm asking the question.
I can shake my eyes. Can you see that?
Oh, I can actually. That's crazy.
That's a hidden talent.
Wow. Have you been on Australia's Got Talent?
Well, I don't think it's a talent.
You might get a.
I'm a good cleaner at my house.
Yeah. I must admit, I'm the same.
I've got OCD, and my missus has got the opposite of OCD.
Oh. It works in harmony.
Yeah. I don't understand. I love it a bit, but I don't understand people who don't cook and clean as they go.
Yeah.
So as you cook something, you sort of clean up.
Yeah.
These days we've got robots called fucking dishwashers
100%
that clean our shit. So all you got to do is put it in there, and it will do it for you.
100%.
But when she cooks, there's just a pile of shit everywhere, dishes and spoons and
you are the cleaner.
Just yeah, I know that's probably what I've stuffed.
That's the job.
That's my biggest regret in life is I clean a lot, and my missus thinks that's how it should be all the time and expects me to do it all the time.
She's very smart then. She's very smart.
She is, yeah.
But I'm the same.
I love her to pieces. I've got to say that.
Yeah, you've got to say that one
she's
for sure. And your heroes growing up, obviously.
Motor racing heroes. Racing. So obviously Mark Scaife is very different to me. He's very, very professional, very
100%,
articulate. I'm very the opposite.
Yep.
Ayrton Senna. He was the best.
One of the greats.
The greatest Formula One driver of the generation growing up watching him.
The Schumachers.
Schumacher, he's another one. Jim Richards was another one.
Rocky?
Not really, no. He was sort of before me, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, okay, right.
I never really watched him growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of funny. Yeah. That's another generation removed, I reckon.
Yeah. No, that's cool. And
lately, out of the fight sports, I love watching Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's lost a lot lately, but the way
the mindset warfare as well, that's interesting.
That's super interesting to watch, isn't it?
The same. I get that with the fighting game, but that's why I like doing these podcasts, because I like to, the car racing, the actors. What's their mindset? How do they get through that adversity And even when they've had failures, they still have that mindset where they go, failure is not an option.
Yeah.
And you get the McGregors and you got the Alis back in the day. That's their mindset.
They keep coming back.
It's sometimes it's unexplainable.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
I've got no idea, but
I hope he does like fight again and win.
Yeah, I'd like to see him sort of come back to that part. But the way things are looking, I'm not quite sure. I think he's loving. I think he's loving the yacht life. And
yeah.
Once he's got that hundreds of millions of dollars, I think he's like, oh, you know, this is
what. Like, so he obviously at the start he fought to feed his family.
That's
but
right.
Now he doesn't have to.
No,
that's been removed. So why does he have to fight?
But that's what
he's just doing it for ego.
A lot of people say, you know, sometimes it's hard to get out of bed when you sleep in silk sheets. You know, and I'm thinking, oh, that's probably, you know, when you're sleeping on the floor and you're like, I'm getting up, I'm going to train, I'm going to do this. But when you get the silk sheets and you got the spa in the room, you're like, and you come out off your yacht and you're like, oh, this is Monaco. Oh, nice.
That's a nice life, isn't it?
You go,
the rich life.
Have I got to fight again?
Hey.
Oh, I don't want to fight again. Who cares all that?
The rich life, rich.
100%. And so the end of the last question, what is Dave Reynolds' rich life? Like
what is my rich life?
Yeah, what really gives you happiness in life?
Well, before having kids, it was winning races.
Yep.
And now it's just hanging out with my son.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Making him, giving him the best life I can.
Yeah, 100%. And the wife.
And the wife too.
Yeah, the wife.
When she likes me. They're up and down characters.
100%. But we love them. They're good. They're good.
That'd be it. Yeah, because any time I get to spend with him is just awesome.
Yeah, it is
unbelievable.
Amazing.
I never thought I'd be that person.
Yeah,
I didn't get it until I had kids. I was like,
I don't think anyone does until they have kids.
Yeah. Why would you do that? That ruins your own life. But no, it just makes your life.
Oh, it enhances it for sure.
It makes it. It's like, what the fuck was I doing before?
Yeah, 100%.
Like I said, as soon as he was born, I'm like, fuck, I wish I did this 10 years ago.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, it's those things in life you don't know because you haven't experienced it. But when you do, you're like, that's a part of regrets, you know. But again, I want to thank you for coming on.
No worries, man.
I appreciate your time because I know
I hope you learned nothing.
Little fun. No, I did. I learned absolutely nothing. But just hanging out, brother, it's always good to hang out with you, man. And I just appreciate your time on a Saturday morning. We're here, and thank you again, my friend.
Thanks, Rich, you legend. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, brother.